For over 50 years, OM has mobilized thousands of Christians to transform lives and communities around the world. Reflecting the world's diversity, OM has 5,500 workers from 100 nationalities who work in over 110 countries and on 2 ships. Over half of the world's population lives on the coast. OM ships have reached millions with knowledge, help, and hope through distributing educational and Christian literature, bringing aid, mobilizing local believers into mission, and sharing the gospel of hope. Many ports the ship visit are unreached with the gospel. Through the international crew sharing their lives in hospitals, prisons, schools, and in conferences on board the ship, many people are being saved. Sometimes these new Christians will come back to serve on the ship themselves. Historically, the Dark Continent has been Africa. Many people don't realize that in fact today, Europe is the Dark Continent. It has the least number of evangelicals in the entire world. Many of today's young Europeans have never heard the gospel.
So young people don't know very many Christian values and Christian basic knowledge. That's why the gospel is really something new and relevant to them, because they grow up in a secular environment. In schools, for example, there is no religion in schools allowed. At home, we never talk about Christianity. So they're not exposed to anything that has to do with Jesus. We see fruit, and we do see people opening up for the gospel and really taking a great interest in what God has to offer.
Because of OM's global presence, we are able to respond quickly to disasters, working with other agencies to deliver aid. We do this to break the cycle of poverty. OM partnered with local churches to bring aid to rebuild the hurricane-hit area. Our medical clinics brought immediate care that opened doors to long-term work in devastated areas. Our local team delivered food and shelter when international aid wasn't allowed in. After delivering immediate relief, we now have schools for children in remote areas, and we teach women job skills.
I lost my mother at the age of 2. I was married off at the age of 15. But because I was unable to have children, my husband divorced me. I then married my ex-husband cousin, who treated me like a slave. My life was so bad that all I thought about was committing suicide. Then I met an OM missionary who explained to me that I was so precious to God, that He loved me. I could not really believe what I was hearing. But because I was so desperate, I got down on my knees and asked Jesus into my life. My life changed. I was so filled with such joy and happiness. I spoke out for the first time in my life. Jesus is my Savior.
As OM is one of the largest organizations working in the Muslim world, numerous lives are changed. To protect them, many stories remain untold. Many of India's 1 billion people live as slaves to poverty and society's rules that don't allow them to move up in life. 1 in 4 Indians are Dalits, which means literally untouchables.
From my childhood, I was brought up in a Dalit environment, and I was told from my own parents that we Dalits are less than human beings, we are created less than animals. The word slavery, in my opinion, describes very lightly what the Dalits are going through in our nation today.
OM is breaking this cycle of poverty and injustice by educating untouchable children and women. This gives them a voice in society and skills to move out of extreme poverty. The biggest difference is made through the hundreds of churches OM has helped to start. Thousands of Indians are rejecting their idols and finding true freedom and meaning in Jesus. These 5 areas are just a glimpse into OM's global ministry. God is moving today in wonderful ways. As the prophet Habakkuk writes, "Look at the nations and watch, and be utterly amazed. For I am going to do something in your days that you would not believe, even if you were told." God is doing something historic in our time. You can be a part of it as you pray, go, and give.